from the ground, but I'm not looking down. Feel the warmth of the breeze rushing over me. Now it's soaring high, reach and touch the sky. We can't
everyone, friends and family, lurkers and lovers, peasants and groundlings, welcome to Hang with Hilari. But first, we need to give a roaring welcome to my co-host, David Maldo. David.
Got to get that last little roar.
Your timing is so spot on. I'm so impressed. I think we got our opening. We got our opening indeed. So thank you everyone for joining us. Both people are watching live and people watching in the future. We appreciate you. This is the show where we interview actors, artists, writers, directors, producers, creative people finding their journey to where they are, which is not always just a linear path, but always takes an interesting route. So, if you're new here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button so we can notify you every time we're live. We're live here every single Wednesday, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Ah, that crowd. I love that crowd. Now, I think we have to, or as Dalen said a couple weeks ago, our Sims crowd joined us. So we've got the, how are you doing, David? You're calling in from Florida?
Yep.
Yeah. How was your week?
Trying to stay out of trouble. Been busy. Good busy.
Good busy is good.
Yeah. A lot of people are using this video stuff lately.
The Zoom stuff, this crazy Zoom technology. I think this is around to stay. I think that you're very secure in your job for a long time.
I think there's a lot of people who are like, even after the vaccine, I just want to stay home. I like two-dimensional people. I like people two-dimensional.
I like three-dimensional people, but I'm all about staying home. I am so happy here. So happy. Just hanging here. But I am happy I get to hang with you every week. All right. So now let me introduce our guests for next week. We've got Stephen Banks, who is a head writer for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Wow.
And also his secret identity is Billy the Mime. So he will be on next week, May 5th. Then we have the fabulous Broadway actor John McGinty, who is in Children of a Lesser God, and our fabulous interpreter Julie Pond will be back to make the show fully accessible. So please, again, subscribe, pass the link around, and tune in. But I am so excited about today's guest, a good friend of mine who I love and adore, and I can talk to her almost every day. Let's give a big round of applause to my friend, the fabulous Susan Dynner.
Yeah.
Susan, you got double cheers.
Woo! What's up, Hilari? How you doing, David?
Hey, good to see you.
And I love your red couch and your painting behind you. Calling in
very comfy at home.
Your West Hollywood beautiful home here in Los Angeles. And for those people who don't know, Susan painted that behind her, and we're going to show. I did not know this. I've known Susan for years, and it wasn't until recently that I got to see her painting collection, which we're going to share with all of you very soon on the show. Susan, we're going to read your bio. Are you ready for this? Feel free to interrupt me or add on, because I want I really want you guys to get a full picture. It's kind of hard to get a full picture of who Susan is, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try it. So we've got award-winning director, producer, writer Susan Dynner, who is a recent Sundance Stories of Change Fellow. She's gearing up to produce and direct Iris, which is a short psychological drama. Following that, she'll direct and produce Fall of Eden, starring Dylan McDermott and Brianna Hildebrand, and Spellbound, a TV docuseries about women in magic that she created. I'm so excited about that, Susan.
Me too.
She directed and produced Code Blue, a love story starring Andy Dick, for which she was awarded the Sony Pictures Television Diverse Directing Fellowship. And she produced Free Ride, starring Anna Paquin and Drea de Matteo. And she was a Film Independent Producing Fellow for the documentary After Porn Ends. She told me-
Actually, I was a producing fellow for Free Ride. And then I did After Porn Ends.
See, this is why I bring my guests up when they hear their bio. And she told me an interesting tidbit right before we went live was that it was originally the title was what again, Susan? The original title?
It was called oh my gosh, you're the one that said it. I have
Life After Porn.
Life After Porn.
About porn stars who then retire from that business and go on.
See if they
And
can lead a normal life after they've left the industry.
which is an important question, I think. And then they said they wanted the title to have the A beginning because people who know the catalogs are formed alphabetically. They wanted the title to start with A, so it's After Porn Ends. All right, and the big credit, she directed and produced Punk's Not Dead, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, which is a huge deal for people who don't know. And it received critical acclaim on the festival circuit, followed by a theatrical worldwide release. She's also a producer on Brick, which was the winner of the Sundance Film Festival, and it was released by Focus Features. We're going to show you a clip of that in a minute. Susan was a TransAtlantic Partner Producing Fellow, a Producers Guild Power of Diversity mentor, which was good because I was in the program, but to be a mentor, you really have to know your stuff. You have to be at the top. And she was just selected by Blackmagic Collective as one of 9 filmmakers for their Future Studio Directors Fellowship. As a development executive, Susan worked for Charlie Sheen and Nick Cassavetes' Venture Films as a VP of Creative Affairs and Wolfgang Petersen's Radiant Productions. Susan began her career working for Richard Donner Productions and Novi Pictures. And prior to that, she was an award-winning band photographer from the ripe old age of 15. And she is currently a magician member of the world-famous Magic Castle. Not just a member, but a magician member, which we are also going to talk about a little bit later on the show. So she is the owner of Aberration Films and has many projects in various stages of development. Whew, I think we need another cheer, David. That's a mouthful.
Wow. I need to get them to fade out a little better.
Yeah, we're still working on the audio. We need an audio. We need to bring Joe Milner back to help
I think I have another clip.
with the audio side. So out of all this, Susan, your first project you feel like that made a splash was Punk's Not Dead. Wasn't that like your breakthrough project?
Well, Brick was actually before Punk's Not Dead.
Really? What?
Brick
Brick was first. That's right.
Brick was my first movie I produced on my own. So I'd been working for Charlie Sheen and Nick Cassavetes, and that company disbanded. And then I worked for a guy, I don't have everything on my bio, but I worked for a guy named Steve Hertzberg, who had a company called Prairie Fire Films, and we had a deal at Sony. And then our deal there expired. And I was friends with this guy, Mark Mathis, from my Redskins bar, which is now, I guess, I can't say Redskins bar. It's my Washington football team bar at the time. And we had a similar sensibility, and he was also a producer, and we decided we wanted to figure out how to make a movie together. So we teamed up and read through piles and piles of scripts. And I just remember reading Brick for the first time, and I was like, holy crap, this is so good.
Amazing.
I read it again, and I called Mark, and I was like, we read this, tell me what you think. Because we've been looking at scripts for months. And we ended up calling Ryan the next day and optioning the project. And then it took us 3.5 years to get that made, but that's a whole other story.
So Ryan, the director writer was Ryan
Johnson.
Ryan Johnson, that's right.
We
So
just had a huge deal that he made for Knives Out. So
yeah, he's now like skyrocketed to mega fame.
he did a little movie called Star Wars.
Heard of that
See,
one.
I know it's and it's interesting that sometimes one person in a project will like catapult up, and that you now have your fingers in so many projects. And I know it's opened a lot of doors. Your work on that was outstanding, by the way. I know how much work you did to breathe that into existence. So quickly, for people who don't know, what does a film producer actually do? People get writing and directing, but what does a film producer do? I'm curious to hear it in your words.
The way I try to explain it to my family members who don't really get it is kind of like a project manager. You oversee all aspects of the production. So for me, there are different kinds of producers. I'm a creative producer, so I get involved in the script stage. So I'll go through and work with the writer to get the script to where we think it's ready to go out to financiers, which usually takes several rewrites. Just because you think your script is done does not mean it's done. And even after we finish writing it and doing all the rewrites together, and then we get it to the actors might have changes. So it's just, and the financier might have changes. So the writer's going to be rewriting several times. But because of my background in development, I feel like I'm kind of uniquely qualified for that aspect.
Oh, you're amazing. Susan's notes, Susan's read some of my projects, and her feedback and script notes are truly outstanding. And she really has a keen eye for story and for character. And so any writer out there that's wanting to get a film made, if you can find time, I'd go to Susan. But I want to show a little bit of your work before we get further into these discussions so people can see some of these. So we're going to go to the screening room and first screen Punk's Not Dead, because that's the first one you directed.
Correct.
Okay.
My first feature I directed, yeah.
So, and this comes from Susan's personal experience, as we were saying on her bio, of photographing punk rock musicians and bands. And we will talk more about that after you see a small clip of Punk's Not Dead. So David, let's take us to the screening room.
All right. Oop.
Phil Donahue's guests this morning have a warning. They say, watch out for punk rock. Could be hazardous to your children's health. Let's go to Chicago.
We were, in the press, considered a menace to society.
You knew right away if somebody was on your team, and there wasn't many. It was a secret kind of music, and it was different.
Various versions of socialism and anarchy and sort of mixtures of in-between things like that were coming out through lyrics. Just basically said, we want to run our own lives.
I think one of the most important chapters of the history of rock and roll, history of music, was the time that all the kids got together, wrote their own songs, formed their own bands, put on their own shows, put out their own records, made their own magazines, set up their own touring networks, set up this whole thing, and the major labels were completely unaware.
You guys, that's so
Awesome.
good. So now, how did you originally get into working as a band photographer at 15? It's such a crazy story.
Oh my gosh. So I was taking a photography class in school.
High school, right?
In what?
In high school, right?
Yeah, when I was 15. So I was taking a photography class, and they told us to photograph what you love. And I'd just gotten into punk rock, and I loved the music, and I loved the energy of the scene. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll photograph what I love, which is punk rock. And it ended up like I got into all the shows for free. I got my friends in free. I got my film taken care of. I would get paid to have my photos on albums and t-shirts and magazines. And then I started taking for bigger bands as well, like Squeeze and Psychedelic Furs and UB40. and English Beat and Modern English and just all the new wave and punk bands of that time, kind of. So
Oh,
it was
Squeeze
really
has a special place in my heart, like forever.
so good, right?
They're one of those bands for me. There's something about Squeeze. They're one of those bands for me.
I know. Well, the lyrics are great and the music was so fun. It's like the kind that you want to roll down your, windows, put down your top and listen to, not your car top,
Yes.
not your, and listen
really
to in the
is.
car at full blast. So it's, I'm still friends with all those guys too. I was talking to Modern English about doing a music video just before the pandemic, but that kind of stopped that.
But I love the fact that you've kept your circle of friends, Susan, and they're genuine and authentic friendships. You're one of the nicest, most accessible people that,
Oh,
and I know that people I find you easy to talk to but you make friends easily, but I love the fact that you keep your friends, and that is such an important thing, not just in the business, but in life, I think, to really nurture your friendships, which you do. You take good care of your friends.
thank you. That's so sweet.
You do. That's me. I'm a sweetheart. But I am going to jump on to, we have so much to show. Susan could easily do a 2-hour show, but we're going to jump to.
We had to leave stuff out. I feel bad. There's so much good stuff
I know,
that's not in the
there's
show.
so much good stuff. Susan's got an incredible career and so many interesting hobbies that she does and so many talents. But I do want to jump to the next trailer for Brick that she directed and produced.
I didn't direct Brick. That was Brian.
Oh, shoot. I was looking at she was a producer on this is the one that won Sundance Film Festival and got picked up by Focus
It won the
Features.
Originality of Vision Award there.
The Originality Vision Award?
Of Vision, yes.
Of Vision. And it is. It's a unique story, at least for this time. I think it was the first, and there have been many copycats since then.
Correct.
All right. So without much further ado, we are going to show this entire trailer because it's so good I couldn't cut it off. So let's go ahead and show the trailer for Brick.
Brendan,
Emily?
I really screwed up.
Screwed up how?
The brick.
What?
I didn't know it was bad, but the pin's on it now. You gotta help me.
Slow down now. This isn't good. No. Emily said words I didn't know. Tell me if they catch.
Brick?
No. Tug?
Tug might be a drink, like milk and vodka.
Pin?
You know the kingpin.
Dope runner, right?
Big time. What are you gonna do?
She asked for my help. I just want to know she's okay.
So what's first?
I'm gonna start shaking things up.
So you didn't know this boy?
No, sir. Never seen him.
And he just hit you.
He asked for my lunch money first. Good thing I brown bagged it. You're coming into a certain situation. It's twisted. I'm looking for Emily.
He left her.
Yeah, I did.
You better be sure you want to know what you want to know.
Complicated. Everyone's got their thing.
When the upper crust does shady deeds, they've got symbols so they can tell each other that word getting around.
Coffee and pie.
Coffee and pie? Oh, my.
Keep up with me now.
You got a cigarette?
I don't smoke.
I've seen you smoke.
I don't smoke cigarettes.
I thought we had orange juice. I'm sorry.
Water's fine, ma'am. Thanks.
Oh, wait a minute. We have apple juice. It's country style.
If I get to the bottom, whatever this is.
What do you want?
Just to see you sweat.
When it gets too hot. You got a discipline issue with me? Write me up or suspend me.
I see that you're trying to help her. And I don't know anybody who would do that for me.
You are dangerous. I set out to know, put her on the spot, and put her in front of the gun. There's not much chance of coming out clean.
Wow.
That is so extraordinary. That is an incredible trailer. Incredible.
Thank
And
you.
all I could think is,
I just realized we showed the first movie that I produced and the first movie that I directed, but I've done a bunch since then.
I know, but to have those as your first straight out of the gate is incredible. Especially like I look at Brick and I look at all the locations and all those props and all that makeup and all the production value. And I know it wasn't a big budget film. So I know all that stuff is production that you had to wrangle and, find people, find favors.
We
Like what
called
was
in a lot of favors.
what was like one of the biggest challenges of producing Brick?
I mean, honestly, it was getting the financing, like getting it made initially. It took us 3.5 years because people just didn't get the script, and I did not understand why they didn't get it because it was so good. But I guess the lingo, it was so different that
Right.
sometimes people are just within their own little boxes and they don't understand things that are, really brilliant. So I'm glad eventually, we were able to cobble together the money and, through family and friends and get it made.
Then
Yeah,
did you
especially
show it
with
to all
something
the
new
people
like
who
that.
passed? Yeah, like new like that, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't get. And then when the film was done and won awards, did you like call up all the people who passed and was like, yeah, that movie you said no to? Yeah, we
but-
just won Sundance.
What's interesting is I'm good friends with I'm not good. I'm friends now with an actor, and I'm not going to say who it is that we originally talked to before, when we first had the financing, because I mean, obviously Joe was made for this movie, but we originally went to another actor first, and he had passed, but unbeknownst to him, because we're friends now, and he was like, "What do you mean I passed? I never even got the script," which is sadly quite common, but yeah.
So actors, get on your managers and know what's going on in your career.
But
People
it's funny,
who are
right?
the
Because
gatekeepers.
I think right now you can see, if you have Amazon Prime, I think you can see Punk's Not Dead, you can see Brick, you can see After Porn Ends, and you can see Free Ride. I think all are on Prime right now.
Well, now Foreign's going to grab them because you promoted it. So that's how.
Prime
Well,
porn,
Susan, just because you're a big deal on Hanging with Hilary, the guests get to choose their happy place of where we want to have our next in-depth conversation. So of all the places in the world for us to hang, where would you take us?
Well, one of my happiest spots is south of France, and especially the Cannes Film Festival, because that's where Punk's Not Dead played. And I also studied there as a junior, not in Cannes, but in Aix-en-Provence when I was 20 years old. I did my junior year abroad there. So I love Southern France. So.
Well, David, we have to keep our guests happy. So let's, through the power of David Maldo and LDV, we're going to the Cannes Film Festival.
Yay!
And David's in a balloon, which I absolutely love.
Oh, I forgot the tornado thing. Should I try again?
Oh, sure.
That's
You
okay.
want to try again?
Set up.
Oh, yes. Take two. And Cannes Film Festival, take us away.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
All right.
And here we are. It was good. That was a dramatic tornado. I think Mark Beltzman, who played us somewhere over the rainbow. He played it under a rainbow on his tuba on a previous show. So we've got a different theme going. And David's got the balloon. So Susan, did you walk these steps on your premiere? Was this your red carpet?
I have walked those steps for a different premiere, but not for mine. Mine was elsewhere, but it was really amazing. We had a huge party afterwards. The UK subs, we flew the UK subs punk band in. Hot Topic sponsored our gift bags, and we had like line around the block. It was crazy. And then, the next day we did a big party with open bar and with subs playing. And then the next day it was freaky because I'm walking the Croisette and I'm seeing people with Punk's Not Dead t-shirts, Punk's Not Dead buttons. Wow. We were in Variety, we were in, the trades, we were in everything. It was just kind of surreal. I got to do amazing gifting suites. I did so much press. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
I mean, it sounds like a dream. It really is the creme de la creme to be able to screen your film at Cannes. How do you how do you pronounce it? Because everyone, there's been arguments for years.
I say Cannes.
It's Cannes is just accepted, and then if you want to be a snob, you can say Cannes. Yeah,
But
it's the same people say.
I got lucky because I went with my producing partner Todd Trena on it, and I actually genuinely really love him in person. So we had so much fun. So we were there with our sales agents, and they were fun. So we had a good time at all the parties, and it was just a really unique experience.
See, that's good to hear. There's so many directors and producers when they first premiere their film at a massive festival, they're so nervous and on edge and filled with anxiety. I hear more stories about like directors vomiting in the snow right before the world premiere at Sundance. People, going into an absolute fit of anxiety before, at Cannes, because they know that it takes years to get to that moment. And
we also had 3 screenings. I didn't get to see any of the other movies. We had 3 screenings. We had meetings with all the buyers. We had, we were scheduled. We had a lot going on. So it wasn't like a relaxing time by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But, in between, our publicist was also a publicist for a lot of other movies that were screening there. So we got invited to a lot of fun parties.
Now, I know you've been in the business forever and you've met a lot of people, done a lot of projects. I'm curious.
That makes me sound old.
No. Oh God, she's so young. She's so young, you guys.
Nearly 23.
I have to drive her places. She asked to borrow my ID. It's very embarrassing. But so my young friend, Susan, you were really a producer first before director. And what are things that you enjoy about producing? What drew you to that?
I mean, it's funny because I end up working with a lot of first-time directors, like After Porn Ends, first-time director, Brick, first-time director, Free Ride, first-time director. I have several projects lined up now, many that I'm directing, but a few that I'm not directing with first-time directors. Although I do have another project with the director from Free Ride that we are going to do together, so we're excited about that. But yeah, it's I think because I'm creative.
Mm-hmm.
And because they know that I'm behind them 100% in terms of their creative vision, they feel comfortable teaming up with me. So
it's true. You've got the business side locked down. You know how to talk numbers and finance, but you also know
how to hire somebody who's better at that than I am.
That's a hard job. I mean, to find a money person to go out and be able to talk ROIs and percentages and gap financing and distribution.
The hardest part of producing this show for us, Hilary, was getting the $10 million of financing we needed to put together all these scenes. It was calls, it was meetings, but finally we got our investors lined up and we got the 10 million we needed.
We did. And we were.
David is speaking from that little tiny balloon.
This balloon itself was $250,000.
And what? David, I told you to go ahead and bargain with them. I don't know if we got our money's worth. The tornado was worth it, though. The special effects team.
100,000.
100,000.
The tornado. Every time we use it.
The bargain.
There you go. Except we know you probably stole it from somewhere else. So, we can't talk about that too much. Someday, perhaps. You know what? I want to stay here and keep talking about some of your work, but I'm like excited about our next scene. But let me ask a few more questions. I want David to pop in also, because you photographed a lot of these bands and musicians, and you said a lot of these pictures ended up in Punk's Not Dead. So how many years did you do that? And do you still do photography? Talk a little bit about that.
Like as we talked about earlier, I started when I was like 15, shot a bunch of bands, and everyone kept saying, when are you going to put this in a book? And I'm like, no, I'm a filmmaker. I don't want to take the time and figure out how to do that. It's a lot of work. And then I saw this ad for a concert called Inland Invasion. It was Inland Invasion, 25 years of punk rock. And it was sponsored by Levi's and Budweiser, which is very weird because punk rock, as far as I knew when I was into it, was like 300 people in a basement club, drinking beer. And so I was like, whoa. And then I saw it was at this place where it was like an 80,000 seat arena and it sold out in under 10 minutes. And I thought, this has become so huge. It's crazy. So that's how I got the idea to make the movie. And then I'm like, oh, all these bands that played Inland Invasion, a lot of them I was friends with, like GBH, which is right there. That's Colin from GBH.
Nice.
UK Subhumans, on to like, Minor Threat, all these bands that I've known forever that I've taken photos of, plus, other bands like The Damned, Social Distortion, Rancid, The Offspring, to the newer bands like My Chemical Romance and Green Day, and Green Day's not that new, but some of the newer bands, and they're
new
all
punk. They're new punk.
They're newer.
Yeah.
My Chemical Romance, Sum 41, Good Charlotte, those were like the pop punk bands. So I kind of thought they were all considered under this umbrella of punk rock now, at least at this concert. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, this is really fascinating, and I can take all my old photos and put them in the movie, and then people will stop bugging me about making a book.
So you made a movie to get out of making a book, because that's so much easier.
It was so fun because I was just hanging out with my friends, and meeting new people where we had at least 1 degree of separation, so it was just really fun.
Did I mention Susan is a master networker? Did I say that? I mentioned that. She can get to anyone. She goes, oh yeah, I had drinks with this person, that person. It's like, how do you know all these people? And it's just, it comes naturally and easily. So I always tell people, if you're not a natural networker, you need someone like Susan in your life to do that, because that is such part of the business.
My friend used to call me Schmoozin.
Schmoozin.
I love that.
I think I need a Schmoozin t-shirt.
I think it's because I just generally really like people, so it's easy.
You do really like people.
Yeah.
And it shows. I want to show off your art now that's beautiful art that's hanging behind you. I said, oh, I want to see more. And Susan was very gracious to send us. So we actually set up a gallery showing in Europe for you to have your first art. I don't know if we'll find out in a moment, but here on Hanging with Hilary, we are going to have an art gallery viewing of Susan Dynner's original paintings. David, can you please take us to the art gallery? And here we are. And David's in a spaceship.
Because who wouldn't be in a spaceship when you're in a gallery?
Of course.
Of course. Where else would you hang out?
Yeah.
So have you been painting your whole life?
Not at all.
Not at all. What's the story behind this?
So when I started working for Richard Donner out here, I was working long hours. I was an assistant, and I just would come home and be so excited with everything that was going on during the day. And my mom said, why don't you just try painting to kind of, release the tension? And I was like, I don't know how to paint. And she said, well, just do it. Just paint whatever you want. And so I started painting, and then it ended up that people liked my stuff. I had a couple, several gallery shows, a bunch of like clubs showed my stuff. This is only tiny sample. I have a lot more. I've sold a lot. So, but yeah.
So did you have a show and you actually made some sales of your art?
I had a bunch of shows. Yeah. I had several galleries that rep my stuff. Back in the day, I haven't painted in a while now, but the Dvorzan Gallery in the Pacific Design Center, and the Desmond Gallery was at 8000 Sunset, if anybody knows LA. And I had stuff at the Peninsula Hotel. They had a gallery there. So I had my first one-woman show, I guess.
Wow.
There.
I had no idea that you had this whole other art career.
Yeah, but I always did it for fun. So when I started to have to do it for like, oh, you need to do things, it was just for release for me. Because I really I'm a filmmaker. That's my passion.
But I think, I found out it was a hobby, but I didn't realize that people are buying your art. That's incredible. I mean, they're gorgeous. I love the style and that you definitely use bold colors and they're bold paintings.
Yeah, I have some kind of famous collectors, but I don't want to say who because I don't want to break privacy.
That's all right. You know, it's a good thing. Confidentiality is important.
Yeah.
I don't know why David Bowie like won't talk about the art that he bought from you or
Oh my God,
Sylvester Stallone's Susan Dynner collection, but you know, and Spielberg bought a few Dynner originals, but it's all right.
See, this is where it gets dangerous. You say that, and then the next day, that's the quote, right?
But see, that's yeah. I don't know where TMZ. I don't think is watching right now.
I don't think so.
I think we're okay.
I meant in general, not specifically you.
You never know. So yeah, and these videos live on. So after the show, you never know. Like 2 years from now, you could be getting a call going, oh, I didn't know David Bowie bought one of your paintings.
He didn't.
Not yet.
But I did meet David Bowie, and he was the nicest person, and he was like one of my, he was one of my heroes.
Oh, legend.
Yeah. So that was
legend.
Very exciting.
Yeah, for a moment, like I forgot he was gone. Yeah. Like it's just like
it doesn't seem
some
real.
of the things. Right.
One of my cat's names is Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I kind of like him, David Bowie.
Oh, he's the best.
And that song in particular is just, I've been listening to it. I could hear every note in my head. I've memorized. I've listened to it so many times, and still, when you listen to it, it's like, wow, is this a good song?
Well, I know my Ziggy Stardust is a girl, but she has one buff paw and one black paw, so it works out well because David.
I'll be the two eyes.
Yeah,
that's perfect. That's so good. So Susan, speaking of talent and hobbies that don't stay hobbies for long in your world, but Susan has a very special skill that we talked about just a bit in the bio, and she does magic, and she just doesn't do it as a hobby. She's actually a magician member of a very special place. So Susan, if you were to take us anywhere in the world to show off your magic, where would you take us?
Well, Hilary.
So dumb. This is so
obviously it would be the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
David, can you work your magic and bring us? There we are, the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
Oh no, it's not spooky. I keep thinking it's spooky.
No, it's a happy magical place. It's the Magic Castle.
Like Harry Potter.
And so Susan, before we go inside, can you tell everyone what this is, this incredible landmark in Los Angeles? So explain what this is before we go inside.
So this is a private magic club called the Magic Castle. It's actually the Academy of Magical Arts. It's in Hollywood. We have, I think, about 5,000 members. There's 2,500 magician members and 2,500 associate members. You have to audition to become a magician member and get in. So you have to pass this audition, which is, doing magic, obviously. But it's selective and it's exciting once you get in. And when you enter the front door, they always say, welcome home. And if you want to get in, there's a bookcase and you have to say the magic words to get into the actual castle itself.
And you have to say it to an owl that's in the bookshelf, right?
Yep. I think you know the magic words.
I think we all know the magic words. So on the count of 3, we'll go into the Magic Castle. So 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra.
Me.
Open sesame. Oh my God.
It still worked though.
This is why I'm not a magician member. But here we are inside the Magic Castle. We got Houdini is on the other side of me. And so they've got tell us about the stages in the Magic Castle.
I mean, you can't even possibly see all the magic in one night. We have the close-up room. We have the parlor of prestidigitation, which is my favorite room.
Yeah.
And also the Peller is my other favorite room. So, and then there's the Palace of Mystery, which is our largest room. There is I'm missing rooms. There's the Hat and Hair downstairs. There's in the
And is
cellar.
the Hat and Hair, is that what is that?
It's so that basically it's a room.
I got that. But it's not a bar, is it? Is it like a place where
You can see
people
magic in
practice?
all these rooms. All these are magic rooms. And then there's bars where people perform magic. There's the Inner Circle where we'll have magic Thursday through Sunday, which is a bar area. There's so many different places you can see it. Then there's just tables where people will perform impromptu magic. And the performers constantly change. So every week they all change, but more than that, like if somebody's in the close-up room, they'll do 3 shows, and then there'll be a late performer in the close-up room that does 3 shows. So, and same with the parlor prestidigitation. There's early shows and late shows with 2 different magicians. The Peller has 2 different magicians performing usually in the same show, and the Palace of Mystery usually oftentimes has 3 magicians performing for a 45-minute show. So,
And these are world-class magicians from all over the world, and it's tough to get like booked in the Magic Castle, right?
so the only way you can get in the castle as a guest is if you're invited by a magician member or an associate member, or you're given a guest pass. So it's a kind of a coveted ticket just to get in. And once you're there, it's like you have to dress up. You wear a suit and tie, or you wear a dress and heels, and it's a special evening, I think.
Oh, it's incredible. And it's so funny. I mean, I love the magic, but the ambiance, as you can kind of see, it's this old.
So cool.
It's so cool. And one of my favorite places I love to hang out is with Irma, the ghost who plays piano, who takes requests. And it's such a magical experience where you watch the piano playing, and you can, and Irma can play anything. So you can throw out old, new, and Irma talks to you. She twinkles the high keys, or she thumps on the low
She's
keys.
invisible because she's a ghost.
She's invisible. Yes. So, as some ghosts are, but it's really an incredible thing as you're drinking and you're watching the piano keys go off and somebody's answering. The ghost, Irma the Ghost, is answering. It's yeah, like you said, I think this world needs more magic, and I think there's a certain type of person who's attracted to magic. Not everyone loves it, and I know that people are like, oh, magic, but I think it's evolved so much that, I mean, you're doing a documentary now about female magicians.
Ooh,
I'm
really?
doing a docuseries about women in magic.
Oh my God, I'm getting everything wrong.
I don't
need
want to
to
give
watch
away
that.
too much. I don't want to give away too much because I'm waiting until the sale is final. But yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
But
yeah.
how have you seen magic change, Susan? I mean, even in the last 10 years, how do you think it's changed with the times, as all art does? And
I think it reflects very much what's going on with women in male-dominated industries everywhere. There's more women in magic. There's more people of color in magic. More diversity. I feel like people are making an effort to be more inclusive. So, and as a result, I feel like we get a more diverse and interesting set of magic. I feel like
absolutely.
women are really great storytellers when it comes to magic, and there's like, you wouldn't know how many. We have a wealth of embarrassment when it comes to the women that we're hopefully going to have on the show. It's crazy, like trying to just narrow it down and figure out who we're going to talk to when, because there's so many amazing, talented women. So that's exciting. I think it's an exciting time. I mean, for female directors and filmmakers as well, for female magicians, for female, a lot of people, politicians, everything.
I agree. There's glass ceilings being shattered everywhere, which is vitally important. I actually got a special thanks on Stephen Klein's Make Believe about the magic competition. And same thing, it's like, I think every magician, but there's only one I can remember, who had she was a young woman. She had a beautiful act, but yeah, everybody else, it was, like you said, it's very male dominated. But it was interesting also to see the styles change slightly from country to country. That I believe there was a magician from Japan that his magic was so simple and yet it was intricate. I mean, and they would show him just, starting at 4 a.m. and being by himself to work out new tricks for days and days and days and days. And
it's a lot of work because you have to figure, not only do you have to be skilled at sleight of hand or manipulation or whatever art form of magic. I'm a mentalist, so that's mind reading. So it's a little bit different. I have to practice on people, but you have to practice and practice. And then you also have to be good as an entertainer. You can't just, be on stage and be a terrible entertainer. So a lot of magicians take acting classes or improv classes, and it's a lot of work. So it's a real art form, and I don't think it gets the credit that it deserves. I think that if people were more aware of everything that goes into it,
the craft is tremendous.
Yeah.
Now talk about being a mentalist, because I don't think that's as well known. People know close-up magic with coins and cards and things appearing and disappearing, but talk about, for somebody who doesn't know, what is mentalism?
Well, I personally got into magic through mentalism. So basically, several years ago, I was hired to direct a movie, and after working on it for several months, about 7 months almost, I loved working with the writer, but there was something about the producer that I didn't really trust. But I just kept pushing it back because I had done my due diligence, and I was like, okay, it's legit. But sure enough, turns out to not be legit. And it was, ironically, smoke and mirrors. And so I was like, you know what? I'm too nice for this town. I need to be a better judge of character. And I remembered the TV show The Mentalist. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh my God, with Simon Baker?
Yeah.
Oh,
and how he could just phone in and read people just based on the movements, what they did. And I was like, I need to have that skill. Yeah. So I was like, I need that skill. So I looked online how to be a mentalist. And a class came up at the Magic Castle. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Little did I know at the time that I think it's the only time they've ever had that class. I just it was perfect timing. I went and I was like, okay, this isn't exactly what I thought, but I freaking love it. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole and just fell in love with it, and practiced all the time. And it's great diversion when you're worried about getting financing for your film to have to concentrate on something else. So you're not you're not like in your head.
Now, how is it different than your expectations? What were you actually thinking it was?
I thought it was all just body language, eye movement, like FBI style stuff, but there's more to it than that.
So there is techniques. It's not.
I'm not a psychic. I didn't suddenly develop psychic powers.
But
you never know.
A good mentalist, you can't tell. It's like, I know that mentalists aren't really psychic, but when you see a really good performance, it's like, this is convincing as heck.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It should be. That's why it's entertainment, right?
Exactly.
And I think America's Got Talent really opened doors for a lot of magicians. And I kind of feel bad for magicians coming up now, because I think the bar is so high. Because I know they scout and they have same thing. They have acts from all over the world and really unusual things. I think it's harder and harder to show something where you're like, I have never seen that. It's usually variations of something that has been shown or seen before. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, magic is a small community, much like female directors are a small community. It's like you kind of get to know who's who, or even just directing in general. I mean, you get to know each other, you get to know the people behind the scenes. I mean, there's a lot of outlets now that there weren't before. You've got Penn and Teller Fool Us, you've got Champions of Magic.
I was going to mention Fool Us. That show is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So good.
And it's definitely great. Like Hilary said, it's making it so hard, because to compete with the tricks on Fool Us, which are tricks good enough to potentially fool Penn or Teller, that show, every trick on that show.
They've seen everything.
Oh, they're so hard to fool. And sometimes they get fooled because the talent is that good. The magicians these days are that good.
I have to say, the very first time I ever saw a quick change artist was at the Magic Castle. I'd never heard of it. I'd never seen it. And my friend Patrick was the manager there for years and years and years. And he said, Hilary, you gotta get to the castle this week. There's this quick change artist, and it's like a show you've never seen. And because he was a manager there, I knew he saw everything that came in through the door. So I got there, and he was absolutely right that it's like you're walking behind a screen in a ball gown and gloves and a hat and this and that, and then you finish and you come out the other side and they're like, there's no twin, there's no mirror. Like, it's one of those that it's like, what, how, impossible. Like, I consider myself a fast dresser. I can get dressed in like 5 minutes if I have to, but they're like 5-second quick changes from complete outfits.
And one after the other after the other.
Oh,
like
yeah.
30 different outfits in 30 seconds. Like,
and then when I saw it on, I think it was America's Got Talent or some other reality show, it was astounding. But now I'm thinking that you've seen the best of the best. That I don't know. Do you know the history behind that, of who invented that? That's such a crazy.
I don't know, but we do have an amazing quick change artist who I believe is going to be in our series.
Oh, awesome.
Hopefully competing for the World Championship of Magic, because there is a thing called FISM, which is like the Olympics of Magic. It happens every 3 years, and it's the World Championship of Magic. And we're hoping to follow one of our women as she competes. And I think it could be a quick change artist.
But you know what I love about you, Susan, is that you combine things that you are truly passionate and talented about with filmmaking. Like Punk's Not Dead. You love punk music, and you photographed a bunch of musicians, and so you made a film about it. And here you are, you love magic as it was a diversion and something you were truly interested in. And now you're making a series that's connected with magic. So I think that's a really good lesson of something that you're not just interested, but you're passionate about. And because it takes a lot of time to make a project, it takes years.
I always think I'm the luckiest person, because I get to do not just one thing I love, but like combine all the things that I love.
Which is pretty eclectic. I think people are going to look at your work back to back and be like, wait, so Brick is so different from Punk's Not Dead, which is so different from, I'm going to say it's not Life After Porn, but it's After Porn Ends, right?
After Porn Ends, yeah.
There you go. And
Code Blue is my short that I did with Andy Dick starring, and Brendan Meyer and Vanessa Dubasa, who are both also amazing actors, and Alana Thompson.
Tell us about what's called Code Blue about.
So that was based on a TSOL song, which is TSOL is a punk band. Jack Grisham, the singer, he came to me and he's like, hey, I wrote this short story based on one of our songs, and I think it would make a great short film. And I was like, all right. And I read the book and I was like, yes, it would make a great short film.
And working with Andy Dick, he's the most punk guy in the who's ever lived.
So, it's a little, I don't want to give everything away, but it's a little teenage love story with some necrophilia thrown in, and as one does. So I guess my brand, if people make you choose a brand nowadays, and my stuff is kind of all over the place, but I would just say my brand is edgy. It's just edgy stuff that I'm drawn to, don't put me in a box.
I get it. As someone, as I'm all over the place. I think though, right now I've got to focus, and so I do have a lane, but my lane is a highway. So it's got 5 different lanes.
My lane is a parking lot.
It's a parking lot, and sometimes there's an on-ramp, an exit ramp, and you need to get off, and sometimes you got more ramps merging than you can handle, and then you just hope that, I'm trying to find the rest of the end of the analogy. I was going to say the cop car doesn't pull you over, but that actually is a good thing on the highway if you want attention. Yeah, we like lights and sirens.
I know, right?
But
it's funny how people should think, oh, you've done a film noir, so then I'll get like submissions from everyone who does a teenage film noir, or you've done a documentary about punk rock, like I have this about punk rock, and it's like, no, I've done, like I did After Porn Ends, and then I was obviously contractually offered After Porn Ends 2 and After Porn Ends 3.
Oh, wow.
But I chose not to do them because I'd already learned what I needed to learn making one.
Right.
You know?
And there's more stories in the world that need to be told.
More stories that are interesting, that are edgy, that are different. So that's kind of what I'm drawn to. I mean, it's about telling stories that hopefully other people will engage in and be fascinated by and be interested in, or telling them something that they don't already know about.
Has any of your projects been about something you knew nothing about going in?
Well,
That
After
there was
Porn
something-
Ends, I wasn't a porn star.
I didn't want to go there, but you know.
Also, Free Ride, great story. It was based on the writer-director's true life story. Her mother was a marijuana runner in the 70s and eventually got busted in the biggest drug bust in that county's history. And I did not know anything about that.
So do you feel more excited?
I don't smoke weed, so it's not like, oh, I'm attracted to it because of that. I just thought it was a great story, and Shauna was a great storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what drew me to that. I think as long as you have good story and good characters,
I agree.
You know, that's where it all begins.
I agree. Where I do like swimming in familiar waters, write what you know, who you know. And I agree. Sometimes you're just attracted to a project because it's got heart and you know you're going to learn and you're curious. I think if you stay open and curious about the subject matter, the people you're working with, the project, you learn so much along the way.
Yeah. Like I have a great psychological drama coming up that I'm going to be doing. I have, oh my gosh, I have a lot of projects. I have a broad comedy. I've got, you know,
where do you find time to paint?
Huh?
Where do you find time to paint?
Oh, I haven't painted in a while.
Okay.
I need to pull out the paint. Maybe we should do like a live stream of you painting and just we'll do the next time you're on the show. You can be chatting while you paint.
The Bob Ross thing.
Doing magic while painting while, you know.
Oh, David, who's your Twitch guy who talks why he draws?
Tom Thinks or something like that.
Yeah.
And he makes a little cartoon puppet that looks like it's drawing.
Oh.
And he draws and doodles while he's on Twitch. David's the Twitch guru. And so, yeah, so he just does his art.
David, didn't you have a story about magic?
Ooh, do we still have time?
What's your Houdini? Yeah, we have time.
Okay.
What's your Houdini story?
It's not a Houdini story. It's just a magic story. But I learned magic as a kid. See, my one of my best friends, actually my best man at my wedding, so very close friend, lived next door to me, and he was just multi-talented. And he learned how to juggle, and he learned how to ride a unicycle. So of course we had to put some act together. You know.
Did you live next to Dan Thurman or?
He reminds me a lot. I even messaged his friend. I said, "You got to watch this video because this guy Dan reminds me of you. He reminds me of Dan." So,
Dan Thurman was on our show a couple of weeks ago, but continue.
And juggling and unicycling like my friend. And I had a magic kit that I'd gotten as a birthday present because I had been interested in it. And I was a reader. I like to read books. So I started reading books on magic. So I started learning magic tricks and he learned a few magic tricks and we put this little act together. So I learned some magic. I wasn't great at it, but I could do some stuff. I had the ropes that now they're all the same size and now one's long and now one's short and now they're all the same size and you can examine them. And in the ring, and I had I was really good at this pocket knife that would change colors because I actually practiced that one. That was my weakness as a musician. I thought it was about finding out how to do the trick and then doing it. And it's about practice. It's like playing guitar. I practiced that one and I was amazing at it. So I learned some tricks and I learned some card tricks. Then I went off to college and I had this, one of my best friends in college, Shoshana. We had one of those crazy relationships where we're friends and we love each other, but sometimes she likes me and then I like her and we're chasing each other around. And she was much smarter than me. And I realized the whole time she had been hustling me. We used to play this card game after class and I was about as good as her. I was confident. And once in a while we'd bet and she always seemed to win when we'd bet. And I think she was hustling me the whole time. She was way smarter than me. And, you know, hey, let's play for a pizza. Or you know, let's play. If you win, you got to take me to see the concert, the band I like that you don't like, that kind of a thing. So at one point it clicked, and I had to get her back. So I did a bet with her. I said I'm going to show you a magic trick, and I forced a card on her. And for non-magicians, that means I know what card she picked before she even picked it. And there's lots of ways to do it. I'm not going to give away the ways to do it, but I did it a very easy way. I did a beginner 101 way. So she picked the 3 of clubs. That's the card I forced on her because that's the Penn. That's the one that Penn and Teller always do, and I'm a big fan. And then I acted like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot how to. Oopsie dummy. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, hold on. Flip. Wait, I'm a mix. Is this your card? Wait, let me try again. Is this your card? This isn't it. Oh, I think I messed up. Wait, let me try one more time. I'm going to flip over all the cards one at a time. And as I'm flipping them and showing them, I flip over her card. So she sees it there. And I keep flipping over cards and I flip over. Now I'm confident. The next card I flip over is going to be your card. I bet you. And she's looking at her card. So how could the next card I flip over be her card? She'll bet me anything. So I don't remember what it was. It was a bunch of pizzas or something. She had to go out with me. We had a, something. And she said, okay. And then I reached over and take her card and flip it over.
Oh, cute.
And she was so mad that even now I'm blushing and smiling, thinking about her reaction. She jumped up and she goes, I hate you. That's not fair. But that's the, I
All's
don't know.
fair in love and war, right?
And that was both with her.
Oh my God. It's a good story.
Is that okay? I feel bad taking up a whole story with such an amazing guest here, but.
No, I think revenge pizza magic stories belong at the Magic Castle because I'm sure there's other magic revenge stories.
Sure. Definitely.
I try to use magic for good. That time it was borderline good and evil, but I try to use magic for good.
You're a good human being, David. So
I got a deed out of it. It's good.
Exactly. And then you ended up marrying your true love. So, at the end of the day, it's a win-win situation. If she's bribing you through pizzas and card tricks,
No. This one doesn't play games.
No games. Well, speaking of games, I think our game here is coming to a close, which I can't believe how fast this hour goes. So fast. So let us wrap it up back at the talk show set. David, if you could bring us back and give another round of applause to the fabulous Susan Dynner. Thank you so much for being on our show and coming to hang with me. It's always so much fun to hang out with you. One of my most fun friends. I love you and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. And where can people find you and follow you?
It's always fun to see you too, Hilari.
Thanks.
Even though I just saw you yesterday for lunch.
We did. We had a post-COVID, both of us are vaccinated, so we were able to have a safe lunch, which was
outside.
That's amazing.
Which was really great.
Yeah. But basically my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter are all at Susan Dynner.
So follow her, find her. Don't stalk her though, because we don't like that. She knows she has some powerful friends. So until next week, please subscribe, follow. This link is live right now, but then the link is still good and it's recorded after the show. So all the future people tuning in afterwards, we appreciate you watching. It really means a lot. And David, as always, thank you for being a fabulous host, co-host.
This was a fun one today.
So much fun. Susan, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
And so until next week, thank you. Take care. And I need my dragon Dee Dee to take me away. Come on, Dee Dee. We're going to ride away. So thank you all for tuning in and hanging with me. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
We're clear. Yay. So much fun.